Hello, and welcome to Around the Political World with John Rothman. I am your host, John Rothman. If you're a fan of the show, make sure to hit the follow button on the top right of Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening at this very moment. When you hit follow, leave a review or share an episode with a friend. It helps other people discover the show, keeps us going, and as I like to remind you each and every day, it expands our base. I've devoted a lot of time to American politics, but I want today to mention an event which took place yesterday in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam. A pogrom, a riot directed against Jews. Fortunately, no one was killed, but it was an organized effort by a group of people to attack Jews because they are Jews. I raise this with you because the issue of Jew hatred is something we have discussed in this podcast before. But it's interesting to note that the leaders of the Netherlands have made clear their condemnation of what happened in their country. It was a soccer match, Israelis competing, and a group of Israeli fans were attacked by a group of people who, according to the news reports, live in the Netherlands, are active in the Netherlands, and decided that this was a time to attack Jews. This is an interesting moment because what we are seeing across the world is a rise in Jew hatred. I don't say this lightly. The term pogrom is one that is applied very carefully. It means an organized riot directed directly against Jews because they are Jews. And that is evidently what happened in the Netherlands. And that's not John Rothman speaking, that's the leadership of the Netherlands, from the royal family to the political leadership, all expressing the same thing. Indeed, one statement that was made touched me very deeply. It said, "We failed the Jews in the Holocaust, and we failed the Jews now." When I was in Amsterdam just several months ago, I visited the Anne Frank house. The security around the Anne Frank house was incredible. In order to get in, first you had to have a reservation. Second of all, you had to go through a security check that included first being admitted to a waiting area. Then, once that area was okay and secure, the doors were opened again and you were allowed into the Anne Frank house, and then the doors were immediately closed behind you. One of the things I learned at the Anne Frank house is that the story of Anne Frank resonates with people. As you know, Anne Frank was a victim of the Holocaust. Not just did she suffer in Amsterdam itself, not only did she and her family have to endure living in a hiding, but she kept a diary. And her diary said that, essentially, she believed in the goodness of people. This despite the fact that she was to die in concentration camp just before the liberation. It is a stunning reality that I even have to have this discussion with you today. More details will come out about what happened in Amsterdam, but it was not a distant thing, do you understand? I speak not only as someone who has just been to Amsterdam and appreciates the wonderful nature of the people who live in Amsterdam, the acceptance, the tolerance, marvelous way, from the red light district to the acceptance of gay marriage to, you name it. The people have opened their hearts to so many. So the question they will have to wrestle with now is, what happened in Amsterdam as a soccer game was being played? And do you understand, this was not a political event. This was a sporting event. This was not an event designed to rouse any more than the passions of sport, who would win, who would lose, but instead anger and hatred directed against Jews because they're Jews. What does this mean about the security of Jews in the world today? What does it mean if, in the Netherlands, such an attack can take place? All of you know I am a Jew. I am a Jew who just visited the Netherlands. I am a Jew who is deeply committed to Israel and its survival. Does that make me a target as well? Jews around the world are taking the mezuzah off their door. They're taking the Stars of David off from around their necks. They are taking away symbols of Israel. Why? Because they're afraid. And that, my friends, is something we have to reckon with. We are a world in turmoil, a world in which political opinions and divisions are with us every single day, in which some people wake up happy and others wake up depressed and sad. But the simple truth is, we have always believed in freedom of expression. And you can be for or against something, here in this country or abroad, but you ought to be able to do it with impunity. The fact that Jews were attacked because they were Jews, identifying themselves at a soccer game, well, that should give us all pause. Well, I have a lot to say about American politics in the days ahead, but I felt it necessary on this podcast to talk about what happened in Amsterdam. The ramifications, the reverberations will be great, and all of us better understand that this was a pogrom. This was an attack on Jews because they were Jews. And that, my friends, is something worth thinking about. I am John Rothman, and you are listening to Around the Political World with John Rothman. And we're glad you are. Make sure to follow along. Let me know your thoughts on the show by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts and sharing an episode with a friend or colleague so we can continue to grow and expand, which is, of course, our goal. I hope I have better news next week, right here. And I want to say a big thank you to Gogo Zoger, the wonderful producer of this program, who makes sure we're up and running every single day. Have a great weekend. We have a lot to think about and a lot to talk about, right here on Around the Political World with John Rothman. See you Monday.